Welcome everyone to this episode of the Sink and Swim podcast. Okay, y'all, I have such a treat for you today. Megan Broadhead is in the house. She is a therapist, a coach, a channel, a spiritual midwife, and an all-around powerhouse of presence and intuition. She is someone who has lived the evolution through religious trauma, infertility, building a thriving clinical practice, and then boldly shifting into a whole new season of spiritual awakening and soulful leadership in her own work, but also in her life. She's the co-creator of Wakefully Yours, a new community space she's curating with her bestie. And it's for people navigating their own awakening journeys. And she's just one of those people who, I can attest to this, makes you feel seen and safe and somehow braver and more alive just by being in her space. So if you have been feeling like you have been outgrowing old versions of yourself and you don't know what's next, welcome. You're in the right place. And welcome, Megan. I'm so glad you're here.
Oh my God. Thank you. I was not prepared for that. Thank you. Thank you on so many levels.
Oh, you're so welcome. Don't you love when like someone reflects back to you?
Yes.
It's really humbling, but also like one of those like warm and fuzzy things.
Well, and it's like a space to receive too, because I do this for people. I'm like, this is who I see. This is who like that mirror. But yeah, to have a moment to just like receive it is so special. Thank you.
It's really, really special. You're so welcome. So some of you who are listening might know how we are connected. Megan and I are connected via a beautiful channel from my time living in Atlanta. We met at a conference we were both speaking at for basically like wellness for women. What was it, like 6 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2019.
2019. I had just moved out of my house and into a Airstream and started on a whole new journey there. And you were speaking about lots of things, but the thing I really remember was you were speaking to your infertility journey, which we'll dig into a little bit today.
I remember you coming up to me. My oldest son had just turned 1. So I was like in the throes of balancing me and my work and motherhood, and also the clinical and this like mystical spiritual part of me was coming very, very much alive. And I remember you commenting on that piece, like you could see that part of me. And I remember it. Yeah, so clearly.
I remember watching you on the stage speaking and being like, ooh, there is some like radiant light coming out of her. And I just love it and see it. Yeah. And look at where you've become, which we'll dig into. And we got to catch up IRL in real life for the first time since then, somewhat mystically and magically a couple weeks ago. Actually,
that was a week ago. I know.
Did I say a couple weeks? Because it
was like last, it was last week. Isn't that crazy? I know. Time. What is time? Yeah.
Wow. So much has happened in life since then. All wonderful things. Yeah, you were in town here in Western North Carolina at a mystical conference and course and training and stepping more into that side of yourself, which I love. And we went for a walk, and I loved just the synchronicities that happened on that just little afternoon between us that were just so magical. It's like seeing each other's little lights and reflecting it back, which was really beautiful. And it was being reflected by the turtles in the pond.
Yeah, there were like 15 plus turtles that day, just sunbathing.
Amazing. Well, okay. Speaking of, you have lived the evolution, and I just so appreciated even being with you last week and you sharing parts of the ways you've lived the evolution and giving me the space to do the same. You shared about what do we want to call it? Spiritual initiation from really?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years ago. Let's just go there if you're cool with it.
Totally.
And what I love about it is this was such an example from the highest form of integrity. Like I would say like divine integrity, not just like rules and laws, but like the example of you going first and like really modeling for not just your clients, but for everyone, what it really takes to step into your fullest expression of yourself. So tell us about that experience. I think you said it was like 2023.
Yeah. Yes, I would love to. So I'll say that was like the most recent initiation, if we'll call it that.
Mhm.
It was July 2023, and so we're coming up on 2 years ago now. I had been in a group of women, a part of a group of women here. I'm in Atlanta, and we would meet weekly in this very specific container for a very specific purpose. And we had it was a beautiful group, and they held me so deeply through my whole process of becoming a mother and so many big moments in life. And I had this moment one Monday morning in July of 2023 where we were sitting in this circle, and the leader would always start the meeting with some sort of grounding moment. And so that day, it was this gong. So she rang the gong, and as the gong was reverberating, I felt something rising in me that I couldn't explain, but felt extremely powerful. And I was aware that my breathing started changing, and I started feeling tears, and I started almost the feeling, because I'm a therapist, I know panic attacks, I know anxiety, I know all these
Right.
things. And I was thinking in the moment, this is what's happening to me. I'm having these very physical sensations. And this is so interesting how it was all set up, was that there was a new person that day in the group. And so we were all to do the thing you do when there is a new person and go around and introduce yourself. A very normal thing to do in a group of people on a normal day. That
Mhm.
is the thing you do. And so my dear friend went, and I could tell that this was happening. I couldn't even hear half of anything of what she said because I was in my own process, and it was apparent to the leader. And I went next, and I was like, all I could say was, my name is Megan. And then I just had this, I won't call it a breakdown because it felt like this total breakthrough of, that is all I can say. And I can hardly say my own name. It was a moment of like, that's who I am, but that's not who I am. And I can't, I have no, I've never to that I've never felt that to that extent before in a very normal setting. Like, I'll say that I've done a lot of crazy things and fun things and like different breath work experiences and meditative experiences. And I could access that part of me then, who is human and also more the moreness, but never in an
Mm.
everyday moment like that. Something I did weekly, and just an introduction. And so we had this whole experiencing around it, and the beautiful thing was that I knew that that leader knew what was happening, and so I could just make eye contact with her, and I knew she could hold me, in
Wow.
that moment. But I was never really the same after that. And it was like, who am I
Mm.
underneath all of these like titles and layers that other people have put on me, that I've put on me, I've accepted? Do I want to accept them anymore? I had all of these roles: wife, partner, mother, therapist, friend, like, and it started this sort of cascade of questions for each role of like, do you want this? Do you want this? Are you actually this? What if you got rid of this container and you were outside of this box? And it was really, really powerful. And it started off this whole, that moment was the initiation or the start of this awakening. And then there were just many experiences after that that are honestly continuing 2 years later.
Mhm.
That keep this process going. Sort of like it was the question of like, who are you really though underneath? Who are you? Who are you?
What a powerful experience. First of all, thank you for sharing that, because I, as you were saying it, so identify with the sensations and the experience you're describing. I could almost feel it
Yeah.
bubbling up within me. Some almost mistaken for panic.
Yeah.
Um, that's what I think I hear you saying. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Because you're
I mean,
being broken down. It's like
yeah, exactly. But it's a coming alive.
yes.
It's an aliveness. I say to clients sometimes, anxiety is sometimes divinity with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like trying to get out, right? And I love that you first of all held that space for yourself and also didn't force it. Like,
Hmm.
didn't force yourself to just follow the rules and label
Oh,
yourself and conform, to
yeah.
the expectation of this everyday introduction.
Yeah. It was like Julie, it was like there wasn't even an option. It was so forceful,
Oh, wow.
I tell you, because normally, like, it was part of my story before that I could, like,
Yeah.
usually pull it together and set my stuff aside. And it was such a gift that it almost didn't even feel like an option. It's like something was overtaking me. And, what was really interesting, and this was something that I had to process later, was like the new person never came back. Grew. That was like, it's another thing. It's like another, I'm telling you, there's like layer on layer on layer. It's like, then it's like, am I allowed to be that big? Am I allowed to be so unfiltered?
Can you imagine if we all sat around in a circle of women, and you might have experienced this since then, and I've experienced it, but if that was just a regular occurrence where we all had the bubbling up of the aliveness, whatever we want to label it as or call it, again, there's no actual word for it,
Mm-hmm.
and just held the space for each other with that.
Right, right, right.
I just
We
felt
used to
like,
do that. Like, we used to do that, you know?
but what if it weren't in a therapy context or like even a coaching circle or all these things that we
Mm-hmm.
create, but it was just like, this is just what we do, you know?
So that was the start of that for me, though. I love that you said that, because what ended up, there were so many things that happened, especially in the 6 months that followed this. But one of them was that I started leaving spaces and places that felt like there was more of a contractual, you do this and I do this, and
Mm,
and like this sort of clean, like, this is the way we are.
yeah.
And so I eventually ended up leaving that group. And what happened was exactly what you're talking about. I was met with women who could be with me in whatever, and then I could be with them in whatever, and we could experience this, like, elevating of each other's energy, and just by being with each other without this, like, contractual obligation or exchange. Like, it was so cool to, like, experience it outside of this therapy container. And it's just
Wow.
continued since then. It's like what
Wow.
happened with us last week.
Right.
It's like that was just out in the wild, literally.
Literally. I was so grateful for it too. I was so grateful that you were like, I don't know, like this last minute. She just messaged me on Instagram like
Yeah,
the day before or something and was like, hey, I don't know if you're even free. It's a
yeah,
holiday weekend. You want to come? And I was like,
uh-huh.
actually, yes, I do.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
do it. Okay. Contractual transactional exchange. So interestingly, in July of 2023, I was going through my own awakening, specifically around, I'm still, as you like you just said, I'm still working on this, especially
Mm-hmm.
around women in my own work with
Mm-hmm.
women, but also like friendships, relationships, identities, all of that. I love how you named it because, first of all, that just gave some words around something that I haven't wrapped around. But I think that that same thing has happened as I've let go of those. Here's our unconscious contract between each other, this exchange that
Yeah.
is very transactional. Like it has to be like equally yoked and no,
Mm-hmm.
you give to me, I give to you. It just becomes this, it's so hard to wrap words around, but the only thing I can like say is somatically, it feels like there's just this, I read this in a book last night. It's like there's fireflies dancing in my veins.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no rules. It's a little hard to come off of, like not in a
Yeah.
bad way, but it's like I'm really alive afterward and I need to either discharge it or ground it or do something with that
Yeah.
energy because it's almost too big
Yeah.
for my little human vessel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Here's how I've come to see it, because I am still a licensed therapist working in this
Hmm.
field and I love that work. And so I have come to appreciate the contract, like the agreement, in some ways. And I think there's a
Yeah.
level of, at certain points, we need safety, and we need to know, like, this is what you're going to do and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show up at this time for this amount of time, and I'm going to pay you this, and then in exchange I'm going to get this, hopefully. And there's a safety that is necessary, especially like at a certain point in healing. And then what I think has happened for me is, like, I become my own safety.
Mm.
And, that's my ultimate hope for everybody I work with or come into contact with, is that, like, that happens, that they become their own safety. And so maybe we need the containers less, or maybe they just look different, or But that's how I've come to see it, because I was struggling to make sense of this too, and still do daily. We've talked about this too, just with the work that we do. I think sometimes there is a need for the container, and then it's really important intuitive work to know when you got it, like you got you.
I had a mentor who I still work with who said something about rules and boundaries are important, but they're like a substitute for your own. I can't remember her exact words, but it was so beautiful. It's like they're a substitute for your own, or maybe even scaffolding for your own, like soul and spiritual wisdom about yourself. And I love this sort of idea of, especially as if we're just talking about relationships with women, but this applies to all relationships in the human existence and all our living existence. It's like you can only heal relationships by being in relationship. And it might be crazy, right? I can't just like go sit on a mountaintop and heal my relationships.
Although I wish that's how it worked sometimes.
Right. It's so much easier. I could control everyone with my mind. But it's like sometimes that does need to happen in a scaffolded, modeled, therapeutic, coaching, built container, because it is that which like helps pave those not just body neural pathways, but also like brings up those parts of your soul that remember what a healthy, delicious, soulful relationship is. And then, you have to kind of like go out on your own into the world and practice and apply it. And that's where the real, I think, transformation occurs, where you can do it in the container. Great. Good job. Now what?
Yep.
That's why it continues to be a process for us.
Totally.
Out here in the wild, like you said.
Yeah. I love that we're talking about this, because it's not either or, it's both and. It's like we actually need both, and we both have like sacred containers still that hold us, that just, that allow us to go off into the wild and do this, and then allow us to offer it to other people.
I think that that's the key for me. Is I feel like being able to hold a sacred container for someone else. It's not that I'm required to be in a sacred container myself, but it's almost this desire. It's like a guardrail coming from like, I am the container. I'm the one who's like, wait, what's going to help me show up in the most? I have this. I'll actually show you it. It made my old friend made me this. You're a portal of divine love. It just sits in front of me when I do my work. But what's going to help me? I'm like hesitant to use the words highest self, right? But that implies, right, a ranking system. What's going to keep me grounded in that? And sometimes having my own little containers of safety and support are what help me stay focused on also being able to offer that to someone else. It's like this chain of love.
Yes.
And redirecting towards your divine higher self, right?
Yeah. I've heard the term conscious self, like used in exchange for that too. Just that self, which is who is the most conscious, the most alive, the most awake, the most
most alive, most wise. We both, when we met in real life a week ago, we were talking about this and sort of the whole just cracking open and all kinds of things. And we mentioned the book. I think I mentioned it to you. I was like, have you read this book? And you were like, oh my God, it's like in my Kindle or whatever it is, my Audible. I've been thinking about reading it. For those listening, we were talking about the book Mary Magdalene Revealed. And we're going to talk about Megan's like religious upbringing and that. But what I love about it, and there's this line in the book, I don't remember if I sent you a screenshot of this particular line. I think I sent it to my mentor, Amanda. But to what we're saying about this, like conscious self or higher self or whatever, it's like coming out of the binary of it. And the line and the concept she writes about is you're 100% divine and 100% human.
Yeah.
Which cracked something open for me, hearing it phrased that way, because you're not 50-50. There's not an either or, it's truly the full both and so it's like, and they're not separate. It's like it's really like a 200%, not a whatever, but it's not mathematical. Yes, exactly. It's not mathematical. It's not this fragmented identity. And I think that having either the self soul written container or contract, or the external, someone else is helping to create that in relationship, is what helps us maybe stay in touch with the beauty of both the 100% human and the 100% divine.
Yes, yes. And I love that because it's not about you becoming anything like or maintaining this balance. It's like you already are. You are 100% divine and you are 100% human. There isn't this striving. You're not set up to strive to maintain this 50-50 or I love, yeah, I love that.
Or to only be divine, to only
Right.
be in your spiritual side, and
Right.
to, I think, which invites so much spiritual bypassing and
Yeah.
gaslighting yourself and making pathologizing your humanness.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mm.
think we choose things in our life. We choose opportunities to sit with, dance with the duality of all of this. It's like, I love, love, love the work that I do and get to sit and hold space for people and groups and also I'm a mom of three kids under six, and I still change diapers and clean up messes and attend to tantrums. It's like this very human with and like, even as I'm saying it, I'm almost like I'm almost reinforcing the separateness. It's like the divine is in the tantrums and also in
Yes.
the depth of the moments I have with clients. It's like, gosh, all of it is just this invitation to embrace the wholeness of who we are. It's really wild. But I
I love
resist.
what
Sometimes when I resist it, I'm like, God, just put me on top of that mountain. I don't want to be doing this right now. It's when I forget that it's
same,
actually not separate. Yeah, it actually is all
same.
both at the same time.
And sometimes we need to go be the monk on the mountaintop
Yeah.
and have
Yep.
those moments of just, I think it's like, it's not just dissociation. It's like
Hmm.
sometimes I need to go get in touch with that 100% side of me over there that just feels separate or feels like I'm not cloaked in it at the moment. And I
Yeah.
just
Yeah. I
need,
can
need,
remember.
need
Like,
some
because
immersion. Yeah,
when you're on top of the mountain, then you can connect to and
that's
remember.
right.
I mean, you can at any point, but it's just like a little easier when you're there to do it.
Well, again, it's those
Um,
guardrails. It's creating the
yeah.
guardrails for when you need to remember.
Yeah. I have a client who calls it monk mode, which I love. Yeah, he's like, I think I'm going to go into monk mode. It means something. Yeah, it means exactly what we're talking about.
Well, and I think that millennia of spiritual traditions have monk
Mhm.
mode in their own way. Like, people observe the Sabbath or they go to church or they get down on their
Yeah.
knees and pray 3 times a day, whatever it is,
Hmm.
and that I think has some real weight to it. It's not just a ritual that we
Yeah.
do. A lot of people do it blindly, but I
Yeah.
think that there's something to be said for that container in and of itself.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that sacred remembering. Hmm.
Mhm, mhm. Because the human side will draw our memory away.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
human. That's
Yep.
what humans are wired to do. Speaking of the human side, okay, I think this is a good segue. All right, so you've helped thousands of people through your therapy practice over the last 10 years. And so pre 2023, you told me, I think when we were at the park, something started to shift during COVID. And now you're stepping into something less boxed, less clinical, more spiritual, more intuitive. So tell us about that evolution.
Yeah. So I'll say this. I fell into, well, I both fell into this work as a licensed therapist, and it is a deep, deep calling. So it feels like both. There was always a part of me that didn't resonate 100% with the clinical approach, like diagnoses and seeing some of the things that I see through the lens of there is something that needs to be fixed here.
Yeah.
Or medicated or which all of those are extremely helpful, but it was interesting. It's interesting to go back and see like, oh, there was always this piece of me who felt like more of a mystic than a clinician. And so yeah, I did the thing where I graduated and I like hit the ground running and I went and started practicing as a therapist, a pre-licensed therapist. And then as soon as I could, I started my private practice under direction. And then as soon as I was fully licensed, I was hiring people and building this clinical therapy practice. And it was wonderful. It gave me so much. It taught me many lessons about leadership and freedom too, like freedom in a lot of ways at that point. Like there was financial freedom, there was freedom to live and work the way I wanted to. I was able to take sabbaticals. I was able to, there was freedom at various points in what I was doing until there wasn't anymore. And that was around the time of COVID. A lot of us found a lot of freedom in like how we worked and where we worked. I know you did
Right.
traveling around.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so that kind of opened the door for me for me to understand or even question like what else is possible here. And so in some ways it naturally happened, and in some ways I had to make some decisions to downsize the practice, but that is what happened. And I rebranded, and we went from a very clinical name to now what is the practice is called the Wonder Haven, and it really became this like haven for wondering, just exactly what it sounds
Of
like.
course.
And yeah, it felt more and more aligned, and so it became a different container. It evolved as I did, and now I'm at a place where I so value the work of therapy. And also, there's just this constant nudging of like, and don't forget you're a mystic. And don't forget you really love the woo. You really love the magic. You really feel deeply in your bones that that's the direction you're going, to support people in their awakening in a way. I can do it well clinically. And, there are other ways too. So it's been this cool evolution, I would say. And that's the thing is, like, we get to do that. If we give ourselves permission, we get to do that. It doesn't mean that there isn't and there wasn't pushback. There definitely was. But in some ways, that's also helpful too in clarifying. It's like, okay, you can come along or not. You, and there's no hard feelings either. It's like, yeah, I think our expansion also gives others permission to expand if they want to or not.
Okay, that last line, before we came online, we were talking about the wonder that there's your word.
Yeah.
For me, that happened during a session. I've been offering one-off sessions with a woman that I've been having like one-off calls with here and there, just along the
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually asked, she was like, hey, can you share your story of moving towards freedom and being brave and all of that kind of thing? And as I was sharing this story, it wasn't to like, you be like me, right? It was very
Yeah.
much the underlying lesson was, here's permission for you to take what's for you from this and illuminate your own path to freedom. My business is called Illuminate Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever that looks like. And you could just see these light bulbs going off for her. That's not why I told her the story. It was just very much like she asked, and there was wonder and there was divinity in that. And I love that part about like really allowing yourself to step into that. Back to what I said when we started this little segment, it's like you go first,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
and there's nothing more rooted in integrity or credential than that. It's
Mm-hmm.
so out of the box, yet it's helping people like it's you stepping out of the box is what helps them step out of their box.
Yeah. And there were people who went before me who stepped out of the box that
That's
that
right.
that I got to witness. And so maybe it's just this ever evolving, ever flowing stepping out that happens. And it can be, I've been seeing a lot of like the imagery of like a ripple, like this ripple effect lately. And I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. It's like me coming here. I'm so excited to come here and talk to you because I can tell my stories, and then I can release anything that's attached to that. It's like I can trust the ripple effect. I can trust that something may land with someone in a way that they need, or not. Someone might have a reaction to something in a way that they need. It's like it's such a beautiful
Exactly.
thing. Yeah.
It might feel confronting. It
Yeah.
might feel not
Triggering.
like it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that too is a gift.
Yeah.
When viewed the right way, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
But you don't have any control over how people take your story for better or for worse, and that's such a beautiful piece of freedom.
Totally. And that has been a piece of the last few years where people very near and dear to me have been really confronted by what I've done or said, or people in my own family. And
Yep.
it's heartbreaking. It's like, when they're your people, and then you realize like, oh wait, but they can't hold all of me. There's a whole shedding, grieving process with that massively.
Massive, massive. That's actually the crux of is I've been stepping out of my own boxes, plural, of coming up with my own just underlying message and branding. And it comes down to, yes, identifying who you are. Yes, identifying your divine purpose. But those two things can't be fully lived and expressed without people. Coming back to our discussion on relationship. And healing doesn't just happen in our own little silos where I come up with my divine identity and purpose. It also has to happen in relationship. And it may be that there's shedding of people or relationships that no longer serve. And there is so much grieving, like you said. It may be that those relationships have fences that need mending. It may be that there's an opportunity for transformation in them. It may be that there's new relationship that can form.
Yeah, for me, there were some specific like family relationships that needed to break down, and it was almost 40 years of one way, and it needed like I could see after the fact that I was like almost on this pedestal, and then I fell. And God, that's painful when that happens,
Totally.
And it really needed to all around, like they needed to not have me on that pedestal. And I also needed to experience the fall and to experience them and how they handled it. All around, it was beautiful and illuminating,
Amen to that.
And painful.
And painful. all of the things.
Yeah. And I see it now. I mean, we're talking about our work, we're talking about being licensed therapists, all these things, but and also so much more. And I see it now, the more I step out and the more I am vocal, even in my little community on social media or on my emails or in different places. Yeah, you notice the energetic shifting of people that, I've interacted with for years and years. And the release of that is also really powerful. Like the cost of not showing up authentically is so great to me. And so, yeah, it's all of it.
Couldn't say it better, honestly. And I feel like there's this piece that I work on this with clients, but I think it's a part of my own story, obviously, as well, which is as you are releasing that and stepping into that really authentic power. And I feel like there's this kissing frogs era you have to go through as you're, some relationships are breaking down. Some of them are getting redefined. Some of them are being let go altogether. And then there are new relationships being established. And it's specifically in that new relationship column, so to speak, where you're breaking down the old version of you, right? And like you said, the cost of being inauthentic is so great. And you're trying on or really sinking into the most divine, authentic version of you. And when you're in that new column, finding your new realm of people or discovering that they've been there all along, whatever it is, sometimes it just falls into place. Like your friend messages you and you're like, hey, let's go to this park, right? And you're like, yep, she gets it. We're here. Like everything's safe here. And sometimes it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing where someone is like, they seem like they've, and it can feel maybe like a repeat of the wound in a way of the breakdown.
Yeah.
And what I've learned for me, at least, and I don't know if you can relate to this, is like, okay, you kissed a frog and you like just collapse the timeline from recognizing it's a frog to backing out and getting back on the right train track, so to speak.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. There's like a deep checking in that can happen in a matter of just moments too.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, how does this feel? How does this person feel to me? This situation, does it feel like a yes? Does it feel like a no? Do they feel safe, unsafe? Yeah, it can happen in a moment. Yeah.
I just want to really name and honor your transition out of the clinical box and how you've also named and honored that it's not this linear, all right, because you're still practicing as a therapist, and yet you know that there's this mystical side of you, and you recognized that long ago. And it's been this sort of sinuous journey to step more and more into that version of you and that identity of you, and that there are people who come along and there's pushback, and it's not just in your professional world.
Yeah.
Because there's only one you. Yeah.
Right. It's Yeah, it's personal. It happens. It happens in all the ways. But again, I just kind of go back to like I also can point to so many people in my life and all the different places who lead the way, who are a few steps ahead. I know I know we don't like that language of like ahead or whatever,
Yeah.
but I don't mean it in this linear hierarchical way. Who are a few steps ahead of me, and that is really beautiful too. You know, I think I'm in a place right now where, with a lot of things, with my work, with my role as a mother, my role as a partner, I'm like looking at all these beautiful containers and I'm like, what needs to stay and what wants to go? Is there like, where do I need to create more spaciousness here? In the therapy world, like there are a lot of beautiful examples of therapists who do this mystical work right alongside the clinical. Is there space for me in that container? In the container of motherhood, it's like, how do I balance who who I am and wanting to be present and the best way I can with my kids, and also honor this part of me that feels like it's just bursting out of me, this work, this vibrance, this desire to support people in their own awakening. Like, how do I hold both? And is there something about the way that motherhood is structured for me right now that isn't supporting both? Is there something that can be tweaked? Is there something? And then the same with partnership. I've been with my husband for almost 2 decades now. We were super young when we got married, and so it's a lot of life to go through together. At various points, big points along the way, there is this like checking in around like, yeah, how are we holding all of this? Is this container being encouraging of your expansion and mine? And if not, what do we need to do?
Well, I love this. Okay, we've bent back into the discussion on the container
Yeah.
and how there's so much agency I'm feeling in the question of, well, is it the container? That's the problem. Is it how I'm seeing the container? Is there maybe not a breadth that we can, like, I can't expand any further within this container? Is there a depth though? Can I maybe go deeper within it? I'm thinking specifically of like the therapy container, just as an example. That's like, can I bring in this mystical? Is there a track for taking the mystical and like going deeper, or like staying within the confines of it, but like up or down instead of wide? Same with marriage. And it comes back to what you said earlier to me, that was like, you become the container, you become the definer of the container, you kind of set your own, I use this metaphor all the time, fence around the dog park. And maybe we need a new fence altogether. We need a whole new dog park, or I need to build my own container. Like maybe someday you're not in therapy at all and you're like, yeah, I can't. Nope. Everything's too expansive. Even going deeper doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you can keep the container and just make it yours.
Yeah. I was just talking to someone today about how when you're outgrowing the container. And it was such an interesting conversation. And part of what I realized is like a telltale sign for me, and I'm curious what it is, what the signs are for you too, is that I get irritable. Like there's this like I just get like this low level like feeling, and it's just sort of constant, and I know like something's not working anymore. Like I'm too big, like and I mean that in a way of like, yeah, sometimes we're just too expansive for wherever we are, and that's not a bad thing. That's not, and it's not even like a boastful thing. It's like a real reality. It's a real reality. Yeah. So I get irritable. I just get antsy, and so, yeah, I'm curious how
I was going to say resentment. So same family
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
emotion. I've said this for years. I just remember the first time I recognized that resentment means that a boundary has either been crossed, or it's trying to be breached, or it's too tight, or like too loose, or something like just the container itself is no longer fitting to my desires and my needs. And that's it. And what you're describing is what I call the conformity corset. That's like, I mean, the corset itself is a billion things that contribute to it, whether it's conditioning, whether it's expectations, whether it's beliefs, whether it's training, credentials, rules, regulations, laws, blah, 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 all of it, because that's where belonging. maybe for a time that was right for you because you needed that belonging and you needed that relationship to help you move, a couple spaces along the Candyland track, so to speak, like on the game board.
Yeah.
And then it's not kind of back to what you said. It's like, it's not that you became anything. You actually just discovered who you were. It's like you didn't necessarily outgrow it, although that's the language we use. It's like you were always too expansive for it.
Yeah. Yep.
And you finally tuned into the irritation because you finally tuned in enough to who you really were and what your real purpose is and who your people are to need to break out of that corset. But then you have to create a new one.
Yeah.
Right. A new container because we still need.
Yep. Yeah. You're making me think about my whole upbringing in evangelical,
yes,
fundamentalist
that's where I wanted to go
Christianity.
next. Anyway,
okay, yes. Good. Yeah, good. Yeah. Talk about a corset, and I can look back now and like what you're saying, maybe it's this is who you've always been. I can look back at moments and I'm like, yes, this is who I always was. I was always this expansive. I was always this much of a questioner. I was always looking for the way of love, yes. And now I can see those experiences as like really valuable teachers. Like they didn't, honestly, what I believe is like a lot of people probably didn't know what to do with me then, and I can have actually a ton of empathy and compassion for them now because sometimes I don't know what to do with me, it's like this like real experience.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't think they knew. And so I'll say preface everything with that. It's like, I really do believe that everybody, well, most people are trying the best with what they have and that everything is here to teach us even really painful experiences. So, but yeah, I grew up in environments that were really restrictive, and the biggest way was definitely this picture of who God was and is, and then also in relationship to that, like who I was. It felt, I didn't know this and had this language at the time, but it felt really disempowering. That's an understatement. And now I'm so attuned to anything that makes me feel like I can't, or that I'm not enough, or then I'm, everything goes off and all the alarms sound because of this experience, So I went to really fundamentalist Baptist schools growing up, and I was taught to evangelize and, give everybody force upon everybody what I believed, or what was given to me, that I had the way and that there was just one way. And it was this very specific interpretation of Christianity and of Jesus and all these things. And so, it's really interesting because it's, even raising kids right now myself, it's like we do need some kind of structure and some kind of container. And, my hope is, and how I'm parenting, and I think also for little me, what I wish I had gotten was that stuff was filtered through. You're also really amazing on your own, and you are divine in and of yourself. And these are beautiful stories and powerful images of what's possible and what you can then go and do,
Yes.
That piece was kind of missing. So but I've found it now. So there's a lot of beauty in that being found. But I was really in it for a long, long time. And I did everything. I did everything I can remember being a kid, filled with, talk about anxiety, filled with so much anxiety about the potential that I would go to hell. And so I remember every night, like getting on my knees in my room and praying over and over and over again, like what we had was like the salvation prayer, making sure, just making like in an obsessive way. And that is a lot of what it became for me, was this kind of OCD behavior. And just a ton of fear, like so much fear. So now whenever I tune into something and there's a whole lot of fear, I'm like, okay, pause. That's not it. Like, it's not my understanding of God or the divine now. It's actually love. It's not fear. It's love. And so, it's a thing to work through, though. It wasn't until I went to college and really started to, I grew up in Wisconsin and then went all the way to Nashville, Tennessee for school. and really got to be on my own and by myself and a little and separate from that world. And that
Mm-hmm.
was a huge gift that honestly I feel like I gave to myself and that my parents gave to me that I could go. You know, there's so
Yeah.
much like beauty in all of it looking at it now.
Nobody had any idea what it would turn into, you know?
No, maybe they
And
wouldn't have let me go if they did. But or maybe they would, you know, I don't
well, we're here now. I feel like it would have found its way to
know.
you one way or another. And that's just one of the portals one of the levers that the
Yeah.
cosmic taxi driver helped you pull.
Oh, totally. I had so many moments along the way that are like those little moments, you know, those
Yeah.
where I remember because I was still in college, like wrestling with I could still do this, right? Like this is a container I can still maintain. You know, maybe I just need to figure out if I can fit or be myself in it. And there was a moment where I was attending this church and I went to like this is what you do. I went to the new member meeting, like to see if you wanted to join the church. And it was a meeting with the pastor, who was, of course, this middle-aged white man. And we were all sitting in the circle. And I remember asking, I studied religion in college. I remember asking, like, so can women in this church, can women teach? Can women lead? Can women, like, I don't see any women here, but is that a thing that can happen? And he looked at me and he said, I guess if you wanted to lead, if a woman wanted to lead a men's Bible study, we just have never had that happen. And like very much threw back at me in a way, I believe, like trying to put me in my
Yeah.
place of like,
Mm-hmm.
well, we've never had a woman want to lead a man's Bible study before. So and didn't ever answer the question, you know? And so of course I left, but it was like there were so many little but not little moments like that where it was like here's some clarity, here's some
Mm-hmm.
clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Here you're getting steered out of this direction and into another. You don't know what it is yet, but like it's not that anymore. And that was painful. Like who I was then was like you're humiliating me in front of this group of people and I was asking this earnest question and now I'm so thankful for it. I'm like, "Thank you. You showed me what I didn't want, you know?"
Ooh.
It's like,
Okay. Sorry, finish. Go ahead.
no, there were so many moments like that, you know, so many where it's like, this is not it. And I don't know what is it yet, but it's very powerful to know that this isn't it.
Mm.
And the
Yep.
stepping away. Yeah.
So attuned. I think part of that, like, you were so attuned with yourself to go away to college, right? Whether you realized why. No, it's like that was the divine 100% of you,
Yeah.
like working its magic through your human mind and
Hmm.
heart. And all the things that we might label as negative or bad or wrong or unspiritual or oppressive, on and on and on with those things, that you're recognizing them as, nope, not that. I don't know what is, but there's this doorway there. There's this
Yeah.
sort of like, I'm going to close that door. Not quite sure what doorway I'm walking through next. I'm going to be in this little messy middle for a bit, but I at
Yeah.
least am starting to remove that little string of the corset, so to speak, like
Yeah.
untie that one, unbind
Yeah.
this part.
And that's those moments are really powerful. Like for me in my life, it has felt like this constant, I almost want to label them as like small moments or small knowings. They don't feel small in the moment, but there isn't necessarily like a massive traumatic event. Or, and for some
Yep.
of us, like that is how it is. It's just, it's this rhythm of like, no, not that, no, not that. And I guess what I'm realizing is those no, not that moments are very powerful and clarifying. And like you're saying, like that space in between the no and the full body, like, yes, it's this. That liminal space is uncomfortable, but very powerful. I mean, that's the like surrendering place too.
That's the holy space, I feel
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
The holiest space.
Yeah.
I'm curious about just coming back to, especially for so many women who are out of tune with their bodies, with their soul driven sensations, emotional sensations, all the things. How did it,
Mhm.
we talked about like the irritation, and I labeled it as, what did I even say? Resentment?
Resentment. Yeah.
Either way, anger, like family,
Yeah.
right? How did that, if you can at least feel it, label it, whatever, how does that feel? Or like, where do you feel that?
I feel it right here, like in between my throat and my heart.
Yep.
So I talk about this a lot with people, and now the amazing thing is like, if we practice anything and if we practice sitting with ourselves and tuning in, like, we can get to it ourselves quickly. We were just saying before this, like, you can get a lot accomplished in one 75-minute session. It's because like in the right circumstances, with the right like practice, you can just so quickly tune in. So anyways, I feel it in a space between my heart and my throat. And I think that's perfect too, because it's like something my heart space is sensing, and there's something that's needing to be communicated. And so it lives in that liminal space right between.
Yep. I 100% resonate every time.
Yeah.
It's like the low, not the like super choker that lives around your upper neck, but it's like right at the collarbones almost.
Yeah.
And sometimes like bringing it back to your original sensation, sometimes for me, and I know it's a different experience for every person, there's that. And when I tune into it, I get that sensation of tears, almost like you said from your first, that women's circle. And it's like what happens when I finally tune into it and allow it, and maybe even just give it a gentle embrace. It's like it comes up and out. It's like, it's like that divinity with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And it's given the option to just be whether voiced or brought out through tears or whatever thoughts.
Yeah. And I think there's a real invitation to ask ourselves when we're feeling the discomfort right there, like, what am I ultimately afraid of? Because for me, it also is directly connected to fear. And that's a lot of my experience, my past. I go right to fear because it was everywhere, and so I get really honest with myself, and I'm like, a lot of times lately it's like, oh, I'm afraid if I really am this, if I really, I'm gonna blow my life up, this isn't gonna exist anymore, or it's all gonna be different, or I'm not gonna be loved or accepted, or I'm not gonna, and like, there's a real opportunity to tune into, what am I actually afraid of here? What am I? And then, like you're saying, to hold yourself in it is so powerful. Yeah.
Or
I'll
be
just
held.
like, or be held. Yeah. I mean, it can be such a simple, like, breath, like breathing, like deep breathing, hand on the heart, and really going with like whatever visual is coming. I'll do that a lot. Like, I'll just close my eyes, take some deep breaths, put my hand on my heart, and see if there's a visual that comes. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. What is it we're afraid of? What we're really afraid of?
Yeah.
I read somewhere, this is more like kind of the science side of it, although it's very soulful as well, that the bond of belonging, we'll call it, love, attachment, attunement, our people, is stronger than the bond to yourself for authenticity. And so, like you said, what if I become this, then I'll lose this person or be. Mine is like a fear of being all alone. Nobody gets me. I think I verbalize it as, I'm all alone, something's happening and no one's coming.
Oh yeah.
This really deep, like deep fear.
Like, I'm going to be left in it.
I'm going to be left.
Abandoned.
Right.
Yeah.
Abandoned. And, maybe there's some trauma there to heal and look at, but it's also just this, again, that 100% human.
Yeah.
And it feels very divine in that we are meant to be in relationship as divine human beings. And when that is ruptured, like when there's this, I don't have that connection energetically with someone or whatever, then part of the divinity is ruptured. And then, of course, part of the human need is ruptured too.
Yeah.
Moment of silence for that.
I know. What was just coming to me is like a whole nother can of worms. It's like, well, what if we are actually never separate too? Like, even in the rupture, because I've had many of these, and even in our initial conversations before this one. Yeah, it's like, even the ruptures and relationships that I've had, and there've been significant ones in the last decade,
Same.
Yeah. Looking back now, it's like, what if we actually aren't as separate as we think? Even in those moments, it's a call to something more, to a different kind of relationship, to something else.
I was telling one of my mentors, I'll mention her name again, Amanda. Shout out to Amanda. That, I don't know, it was maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. I was several years into my own little healing journey, and I got to like that deep place and I had sunken in and I was like sitting in a little seance of shame, we'll call it. It's sort of like holding this really sacred space with the parts of me that felt shame. And I remember just having this moment being like, you know, feeling like I don't belong and I'm not worthy and I'm not loved and there's no one for me and no one's coming and all these things, and going, but you know what? I wouldn't feel any of these things if I wasn't inherently worthy, if there wasn't a deeper knowing that I'm inherently worthy, that I inherently belong, that I inherently already have all my people, even if I can't see them. And so I love that. It feels like it's tying into your point of, wait, yes, I feel this thing. And this is like a necessary little experience to be reminded that the very thing I'm fearing or believe is not there is actually always there.
Yeah. Yes. It's like the image of the yin and the yang, right? It's like the both and the light and the dark. Or even going back to my own experience with a version of religion, it's like if I hadn't felt complete disempowerment, I wouldn't know what empowerment felt like. Yes. And then that, you know, and then that feels like my life's work is empowerment. It's like, let's figure out how bright you can shine, you know?
Yes.
And so I had to have the other experiences, you know? And so in some ways they're two sides of the same coin though. Like they're not separate.
Yeah. You can't know the swim without the sink. Can't fully know the swim without the full sink.
Yeah. I think about that with motherhood all the time. It's like there's such a balance of being so completely in the moment, whatever the moment is, and then the awareness of time passing. And I couldn't be present. I couldn't be as present as I love to be in certain moments if I wasn't aware that like time is passing, you know, and like sometime this moment where my 6-year-old's asking me to snuggle every single night endlessly, like that wouldn't feel so powerful and potent if it was lasting forever. Like I have to be aware of there's an endpoint to this. I have to be aware of like another reality where he's not asking me to snuggle in order for me to really be able to drop into, oh my gosh, how amazing is this moment? It's both. Yeah. It's like the absence of that, like almost allows me to be even more and more present with it.
You can't know true power without knowing powerlessness to time, to relationship, to your label, your box or not in the box or whatever it is. Like you have to go through what is it in the book, the Mary Magdalene books? Like you have to go through that. There's so many spiritual disciplines, the 7 layers, right? The 7, all the things, climates, the 7 doors, the 7, you have to experience that in order to fully experience the divinity of it, of the other side, you know, and you don't have to, obviously, but it's advisable.
Yeah. Well, and I often go back to what I've adopted as a like personal belief now is that like on some level I chose all of these experiences. So there is meaning, like there are some teachings that my soul has needed to have. And even if they are painfully the painful ones, you know, but also especially the joyful ones. Like that was another piece of this whole waking up, that it's like joy and pleasure got a seat at the table. Thank God. Like they needed to have a seat
literally
there.
Thank God.
Yeah. It's like everything on some level, you know, I've agreed. My highest self, my conscious self agreed to these experiences, and pain and trauma are some, and also like joy and pleasure can be some.
Talk about going from a fear-based, you know, fundamentalist religion where God is only a punisher, you know, to God also brings pleasure and eroticism and ecstasy and joy.
Yeah.
And Jesus modeled that questionably, although there's lots of opinions about that, right? And there's such divinity in that, and you don't have to earn it.
Right.
It's yours.
It's part of that 100% human. It's like, that's part of it too. Maybe we come here for the full experiencing of it, the pleasure too.
Well, you can't know pain without pleasure. It goes the other way too. Like we're saying, well, you can't really know the pleasure without the pain, but then it's like, but if you don't know what you're losing, then it's not painful. And that's, I mean, gosh, that's its whole can of worms around people who've never experienced goodness, and they just normalize pain as this is just life, you know, this is just how it is.
I mean, and those are people and places and relationships I've had the most struggle with, I think, in the last 2 years, and who have also had the most struggle with me. And understandably so, I get it. Like, if I'm out here for the most part, like loving my life, it'd be really hard to see.
It's very confronting.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I threw myself a birthday party last month, and it just came to me as an idea that felt so seamless and effortless. And I was like, yeah, this is what I need to do and want to do. And this would be so fun. And I had a bunch of women over, and we had a dinner, and I told them to dress up and wear, I think I said something colorful, something that made them feel really good. And also like bonus if there were sparkles involved. And so
I love this so much, Megan.
Yeah. And I had them bring a bundle of flowers, like a bouquet of flowers. I didn't tell them what it was going to be for. And so it was so amazing. I couldn't hug them enough as each person came through my door to see like what they chose to wear, the story they had behind it, the flowers they brought. It was so incredible. Just that was just the first part. And then we had good music, and we had this dinner, and we had ritual, and every woman went home with a bouquet of flowers that was assembled from the flowers that everybody brought, and so there were gifts that they got to bring. It was incredible, and like that level of celebration and presence. I am just so glad I can now show up for myself that way. I know that doesn't sit well with everybody, and that is also so okay, because the experience of that was hearing them say the things kind of similarly to how we started this podcast, like hearing myself reflected back was like, one of the best birthday gifts. And then being able to do the same to them,
Wow.
It was like this circle of women that we're talking about that it was a free container,
Yeah. Wow. Speaking of synchronicities and you going first and giving people permission to do that, I needed to hear that today.
Oh.
I have been saying for months, years, that I just want to have a really sacred, like dress up in something that makes you feel fabulous party for the sake of doing it, because it would be so fun for me. And I can even feel it like, oh, this is vulnerable to share. Having had and it's a joy vulnerability. It's exactly what you said at the very beginning. Like my legs are tingling and everything. But having had some ruptures in friendships, and then, COVID happened and we were all isolated, and then we moved to a new town, and I'm meeting new people and kissing some frogs here and there. And recognizing that not everyone, even new people, are in a place to roll with my joy and aliveness. And I talked about this with my mentor just a couple months back, being like, okay, I want to do that. Almost what you described is almost exactly what I envisioned, almost like word for word. I'm over here like, whoa.
Isn't that cool? Because I didn't really plan on sharing any of this stuff, but I'm just flowing with it. But that's so cool how that happens. Yeah.
Even when you posted it on Instagram, I was like, I want to be there. Like, I wish I were in Atlanta. I'm going to invite myself. But I paused on it. One, a very soulful, not yet, was what I felt was like, yes, but not yet, which felt correct. That was definitely like, right idea, wrong timing. I keep saying I need to interface with the models of it in a way. Like you said, people have walked the path or sort of whatever before you, and to almost recognize in relationship the safety of that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
And to the audience, if you've also been craving that type of event and you happen to live in Western North Carolina, let me know, because I'm going to throw it at some point when it feels correct.
Yeah. Sometimes the thing is like, we forget that we get to curate the life that we want. And I know that I want to say too, that there is a definite level of privilege and
yes,
inherent and where I am situated and who I am. Like that goes without saying, but I want to say it.
It's important to name.
Yeah. And also we get to like, we have choice in any situation. And yeah, this was a powerful one where I was like, it felt like it was calling to me to happen. And and so much of what I know now is just listening to those nudges, like we were saying before, from that liminal space where it's not yet revealed how this is going to turn out, or it could have been a total flop, or it could have been, but listening to the nudges, I almost feel like I'm at a point now where it's harder and harder to ignore them. Or if I try to, it's like they get stronger and stronger. And, you know, I have lots of stories around that too, where I haven't listened and it's like, no, we're going to just keep nudging you until it turns into a full blown push.
Until the brick is thrown at your face and
Yeah.
you have no choice.
Yeah.
That does happen. You don't know true power until you felt powerlessness,
Yeah.
as you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of communities,
Yes.
this is not a hard right turn, but I feel like it's a really nice segue from that. And by the way, thank you for holding this space for me and sharing that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, speaking of those spaces where it just is and you're fully in your aliveness, and whether it's sistering, shepherding, walking alongside, tell me about this container that you're curating with your friend, Wakefully Yours, and where it's going, what it is.
Yes. So in 2023, one of the biggest gifts that came out of, God, there were so many, was this friendship that I have with Amber, is her name. She's also a therapist and also a mystic and also so many other things. But her and I, we've always been friends. We can't quite even pin down like when we actually met, or it just sort of feels like, you know, she's one of those people that have just always kind of been in and out of my life.
Yeah, she appeared on the scene.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. We appeared on each other on the scene, like at the perfect, most transformative time for both of us. So it's like our souls were like, "Yep, we're gonna do this now. You're gonna." And so we, over the last few years have just been walking each other's path with each other and realizing that we have. I'll use the word like expanded. We've used it a bunch today, but like we've expanded at rates together, like just being in each other's energy, similar to like how this feels, that we could not have done on our own. Like there's just no question. There's the yin yang piece of it. There are so many similarities, but there's so much mirroring that has happened, comfortable and uncomfortable with this friendship. But it feels like we've each been able to sort of skyrocket and into the place that we each are now. And we can't really imagine doing that without each other. And so that's a little bit of the background of the power of our friendship. And so we started talking, and both of us have communities just individually, just being therapists and in practice for a long time, and kind of build up these communities. And so we both have those in different ways. But we thought about, we're talking, and we're like, well, there's so many people that we're seeing around us in our practices and beyond who are waking up to more within them, within the world around them. Like they're seeing their lives in full color. And sometimes it's so incredibly scary, and almost paralyzing. And sometimes it's rejuvenating and exhilarating. And sometimes it's all of it in the same moment. And sometimes you can feel completely paralyzed. And sometimes you can feel like you are wanting to run 100 miles per hour. You're so excited. And like there is such a spectrum of experiencing in this waking up, this awakening process. And so we decided that we wanted to create a space, or, you know, like facilitate or hold space for people in that kind of a place. And so that's really what it is. We are launching this month, and it's going to be, we're starting out super simple. We're going to do Monday morning meetings, which are going to be about 30 minutes, and they're going to be live and recorded. And we do have like a curriculum and a structure and all those really important things about what we want to happen and cover and all that. And also it's just going to be a free flowing, intuitive space to see what happens and who comes and who needs to meet each other and who needs a space where the magic can unfold. Because this is happening rapidly for a lot of people right now, this like waking up, and it feels like such important work. So yeah, it's going to be Monday morning meetings, and there will be an online, like an app container, community boards, that kind of thing. And we'll post little nuggets and writings and things like that. But super simple, but we're really excited about it.
Well, as you said, it's sometimes those small or simple moments or doorways, you know, that create the most profound awakening for people, or profound invitation or opening. And it doesn't have to be this huge, big, sexy, as the world would define it. I think the small things are very sexy, but you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It seems like you're doing that the way you're curating this, or uncurating the curated container in a way. it's like, well, it's truly living in the philosophy that you've already walked and experienced yourself. Trusting that it's so untherapy, right? It's like you're trusting that these people have the power and divinity within them, and maybe they just need a little like, hey, this door is over here, or like, oh, let me just shine the flashlight on this one little thing here and take from that what you will. And I trust that the God within you is going to help you figure out what that means for you.
Totally. Yeah, we started to this is a huge teaching for both Amber and I, like the piece around like we don't actually have to do this ourselves. Like we're both super independent. Like I want to do things my way, and it's probably better for me not to have a partner or anything because like
I hear you.
Yeah. So it even just the energy of joining each other and like letting each other support, that very powerful in and of itself. But we started to realize like whatever we would do, it would feel magical no matter what it was. So whether it was like we're both super woo woo and love everything. So whether it's like a full moon ceremony in our front yard, where it was so funny, this happened a few weeks ago. We were sitting out there and we didn't have anything planned, but we just knew we wanted to be out there with the moon. And we started looking around, and she lives on a semi-busy street. And so there were cars passing. It was like 10 o'clock at night, but there's still cars passing. There's a high school across the street. So there's like these annex buildings. There's all these telephone lines. And then it was trash day the next day. So there's like trash bins everywhere. And we were like, this is so the point. This is so everything is like, even in the midst of all of this stuff that is so not sexy and so not, we can create magic wherever we go just by the energetic connection, just by showing up. It was a moment that felt so abundant, not because of the picturesque background or the website or the branding or any of the stuff. It's just like we can show up as ourselves. And as long as we're receptive and open, the magic is going to happen, you know? And so, yeah, it was one of those moments. It feels like what we're talking about, where it's like, yeah, it doesn't have to be all the things. In fact, I think a lot of people are kind of over that anyways. Curated. I am.
The sacredness reveals itself, and it also can be found among a pile of garbage cans on your street.
Yeah. Garbage cans, traffic, and
It also speaks to authenticity of being authentic versus performing authenticity of it doesn't have to look like this perfect, picturesque meadow.
Right.
Or the monk on the mountaintop. Although those are wonderful things, like we said, tapping into those from time to time. And you can also love those things.
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
Find the divinity in them, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm a Taurus. Love luxurious, love a beautiful setting, love. Yeah. It's like not either or. It's both.
It's all and, you know, it's the allness of it. It's all divine. And sometimes I like the phrase allness versus oneness, because one, it's like almost feels reductive, like this, it's like the Big Bang, like it all comes into this like one versus like all expansive, but either way, it's all connected. Yeah. I am so excited to hear how this container goes for you. You know, I wanted to say a while back when you were talking about shifting into Wonder Haven from like more of a clinical practice. I remember, I think I was just like an Insta friend at that point, like just following and like, yay, like your post. I just remember seeing you shift into that. I just like remember the moment, speaking of small moments, and being like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so sweet.
Like, from that moment when I saw you on the stage and I was like, oh, she's got something there.
You did. And you told me then. It was so
She's got something there. But what's interesting is like, I'm seeing the mirror of my own journey too. Like I'm seeing it, and it's the medicine I need to.
Yeah. 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 Cause you gave a talk on hormones that day.
Yes, I did, didn't I? At the same time, knowing that, oh, it's not really just hormones. There's so much more underneath this. It is unseen and invisible. And that's where I was, you know, in that from clinical to not clinical journey. And I'm still on it. And I think that like, I love seeing, maybe one of my favorite things in the world is to see someone living out their true, authentic, divine purpose and surrounded in relationship and being, you know, and it's like, I want to be the hype girl for that, because I want that, you know, it's also my value.
Yeah.
So it's just been really fun to witness your evolution.
Thank you.
Near and far.
Same. Like back at you. I think one of those moments for me was seeing you go to all the Taylor Swift concerts in Paris. And I was so jealous, but also like, oh yes. Yeah. It was like I could tell you were being your most like expansive self, like that experience brought it out. And it was so, yeah, it was cool. Like the energy of that came through on your posts.
Thank you.
Which is why this is all so powerful, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I have been climbing out of my most recent conformity corset, we'll call it, or unlacing it, or whatever we want to say, that has been the most interesting piece, synchronous, just spiritual. Sounds really cliche, but at the same time, it's like the way that the Taylor Swift thing came into my life was at the lowest of low points almost for me. And I just had this nudge, this 100% divine nudge that was like, just follow that. Just lean into that pleasure, lean into that joy, see where it takes you. And I knew like going to Paris to go to the Eras tour was not just going to a concert. I was like, this is some type of spiritual invitation. I don't know what it is. And like spending all the money on it, again, I want to acknowledge the privilege of that, but it's like there was some invitation there, and I'm still seeing the fruits of that, process play out, and the parallels and the lessons in these little micro moments that are like,
yeah.
So.
And you are, and I am. Like, that's the cool thing, because I brought it up because I still feel it. And so, what I think is so important is like when you take those steps to your pleasure, to your joy, to your heart bursting, those moments, it has this ripple effect on others, because I'm grateful for the energy of your experience right now as I'm sitting here, It's like, it's pretty cool.
Now I know who's going to go with me to the next concert.
I mean, please,
You're on the list.
Yeah.
I hope she has another one.
I know.
The world needs more of that. Well, anyway, we could keep doing this, but at the end of every episode, what I do is a lightning round, a rapid fire round that's just fun. And it starts as fun, but it ends up profound with almost everyone, which I love. So I have 5 questions for you. If you're game, the goal is to give me your gut first thing.
Okay.
All right. Number 1, if you could be any animal other than a human, what would it be and why?
I want to say a bird, because I'd be able to fly, and the sight that they have, to be able to zoom out like that, but also they could get really close to something. Yeah, that's what I'd choose.
Yeah, you get that bird's eye view of things, but like you said, you can like get in the trees too, get into the granular. All right, next question. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
No. Heck no.
Heck no.
And strawberries don't belong on salads.
Breaking news.
I know.
Love this.
I know.
I'm actually not big with strawberries on salad. Like strawberries and goat cheese and salad, it's just not a mix for me.
Yeah.
Not
grapes can be in chicken salad, but yeah, no.
I'm not mixing the fruit with the with the savory.
Yeah.
Love this. Okay. Next one. If you could get a drink with any person, dead or alive, pick their brain, be in their energy space, whatever it is, who would it be?
This feels so cliche, but I just have to say it. She's the first person that came to me. It was Oprah.
Love it.
I think because of the energetic reach that I know that she contains, like these multitudes of experiences and like stories. And I just think that would be, if I could get her in like this, like in a non-curated state, like her most unfiltered human like state, then I would choose her. Not the put on version.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a given. Yeah.
Like luminary, expansive soul for sure.
Yeah.
She didn't get to where she is by being inauthentic.
Totally.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of giving people permission to do that. All right. Love that one. Oprah. I'll have to call her up. Oprah, if your people are listening.
Ooh, or Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
We need Taylor Swift too.
I'd be over the moon. I would be over the moon. I don't think I would like lose my cool though. I think I'd be like, hey, speaking of like bringing people off a pedestal.
I know.
It's not that I don't respect what she's done, but it's almost like greatness sees greatness, not to be boastful, but it's kind of like, I get it.
This is something I wondered if we were going to talk about today, because I've had this is also part of the last couple of years. I've had experiences of meeting people that I've put on pedestals, and the experience is just what you're talking about. It's like, I'm 100% myself, and it's like this human to human connection. And it is a wild embodied sensation. Yeah. yeah, that's my sense too, is like I just show up just like we're talking right now.
Yeah. As a
Mm-hmm.
PT, when I was practicing as a PT long ago in a past life, in my clinical
Mm-hmm.
life, I worked at a
Mm-hmm.
practice where we saw a lot of professional athletes, celebrities, etc. And a patient came in
Mm-hmm.
who I didn't recognize who he was or what his name was. And I was just being me and in my like genius zone and just, all of those things. And then he told me what he did and who he was. And I was like, okay, well, great. We're going to now work on your elbow or whatever it was. And it was one of those moments where I really recognized the importance of not pedestaling people and just being human to human with them. I got
Mm-hmm.
2 more questions and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
I am a fly on the wall on an average Friday night for you. What do I see you doing?
Man, okay. Probably, let's see here, wrangling the kids. My kids are wild and trying to figure out what we want to do, if we want to go do something, which oftentimes is the case, like go have dinner outside somewhere where they can run around. A lot of times we'll meet up with friends on Friday nights. Yeah, it usually involves good food, good people, and then and a lot of wrangling. That's the phase of life I'm in. It's super glamorous, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Professional child wrangling is very glam.
Yeah. And then when I get them to bed, it's usually just I have a great front porch, and so I'll go sit out there with some kind of beverage, whether it's tea or a glass of red wine, and just sit out there and talk or sit.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like my happy place.
Amazing. Well, love that. That sounds like just a very human Friday night.
It is. Yeah, I'm embracing that part of it. The glamour is awesome and it can come at any point. I embrace that wholeheartedly. But the simple moments are also pretty awesome.
You're multidimensional. This is what I love about you.
We can do it all. Yeah.
We can be glam and we can be messy.
Yeah.
And it's.
I had someone say this time in life for me was about showing up as me wherever I go, whether it's the middle of the forest or a palace somewhere. And I was like, I always think about that. I'm like, yep, whether it's like my front porch or some exotic vacation somewhere, it's like, yeah, I can show up as me.
What a freaking boss move. Just coming back to even what we said about Oprah and Taylor Swift is like staying anchored in you instead of trying to be something for them or, fangirling super hard or whatever it is. Not that those are wrong things. It's just like staying so centered that even these seeming goddesses of society aren't moving you from who you truly are.
Yeah. Who is also a goddess. Like everybody.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like once you realize this is what always happens too. I just love this so much when aligned people get together. There is just like a mutual like cheerleading that ends up happening. It's like, and you're a goddess and I'm a goddess and we're all goddesses and we can show up that way. It's like so powerful. Doesn't it sound like Oprah? She's like, and you get a car and you get a car. It's like, it's magnetic.
The very first podcast interview I did with my friend Parmise was about this paradox of, we called it giftedness, like very intellectual gifted, emotionally gifted, all that, but gifts, we'll say, or seeing yourself as a goddess, and how one is women, we've been conditioned to qualify that and be like, well, I'm not true. We even said it, well, I'm not being boastful. And I think it's okay to qualify it because while we can't control what other people think about what we say, I think it shows some humility and humanity to do that. But we've been so conditioned to not own our greatness or to pedestalize or give people the God complex, all the things, right? And the amount of like disconnection that creates and separateness that creates is immense and the cause of many human spiritual conflicts in the world. And this is the bridge, like seeing your greatness and your humanness at once.
Yeah. Because when we can see it, then it's an open invitation for other people to see it in themselves too. Like I've been playing around with the queen, and I'm like, yeah, if I can show up in that energy, that also invites other people to show up in theirs too. It's such an invitation, a permission slip,
And I feel like the reverence applies not only to the greatness, but also to the humanness.
Yeah.
I think of people like Oprah or Taylor Swift and how so many people are so quick, knee jerk to shame or call them out when they so much as human. when there's, the tiniest bit of humanness. And obviously you and I both know, and most people know, that's a projection of what they think of their own humanness. And our, again, disconnected conditioning on, well, if you're great, then you also can't be human. You're either God or you're human, but not both. Call out Jesus on that one. Just a real call out there. Dude was both. Calling out the people on that one. But I think that I just love this path of owning your greatness. And also it's like the light and the dark, all the things we've been saying of the both. The all is sacred and reverent and beautiful.
Totally.
I feel like that's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah, I think so too.
One last thing, parting words for our audience. First of all, thank you for being here. I feel like we have so much more to dig into, and I'm so excited to see what comes next for you. Cheer you on. Thank you. Do you have any piece of advice you'd give younger Megan?
I love this question. What comes to me is just don't be afraid to shine. Yeah, I think it's that. I know it's that. And you're powerful. Yeah, I would just remind her of her power.
I feel go on. I was going to say, I feel like you just knowing your energy and being in your space and feeling your energy, you would say those words, but you almost wouldn't need to say them. Like there would either be just felt sense or a demonstration in a way. Again, like walking it, you're just walking it or holding the space or witnessing or seeing. And that brings its own power. It's almost like giving it almost back to your very first thing. It's like almost putting labels around it or words weakens the power of it a little bit.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. All right. I saw that in you. Now we're going to see what that turns into 6 years from now.
Right. I know.
I'm seeing it myself too. It's like the reflections for me too, Do you love those moments when you say something out of your mouth, either to a client or a friend, and you're like, that was for me?
Constant. Yeah. Constant. Yeah. I don't know where that came from, but thank you, self.
I think of so many client interactions where I'm like, this thing you're talking about and I'm helping you through is absolutely the divine being like, here you go, Julie.
Oh, every day.
Here's your lesson.
Every day. Yeah. But how cool that you are a portal for that too. Like you're a portal for it to come through for other people. And then also, when to also receive it for yourself. Yeah. I mean, every day.
Yeah. It's the infinity loop of giving and receiving. It's again, all like, it's all, it's a heart or this heart hands. Yep. There we go. Love that. Well, Megan, thank you for being here from the bottom of my heart. Tell us, lastly, how to get in touch with you. What's the best way for people to reach out?
I think the best way is probably just social media. Like I'm Meg Broadhead on Instagram. Yeah, that's probably the best way.
I'll put that in the show notes. So people need the spelling or whatever it is, they can go connect with you. And y'all definitely follow her on Instagram because I love following you on Instagram. Seeing your light shine and feeling it shine. Also.
Yeah. Back at you. I mean, it's what brought us together.
Exactly.
In this so it's amazing.
I think you commented on something. I can't even remember what it was about the podcast. Maybe I posted something and I was like, hey, you know what? By the way, I was thinking about reaching out to you. I haven't talked to you in like 6 years, but would you like to be on my podcast?
Yeah. No, that was that was such a synchronous. Yeah. Where I felt the same way. Yeah. It was an immediate yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
Love those.
And for having these conversations, like these real, authentic, shining your light and inviting other people to do the same. It's really powerful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, hopefully we can have a lot more of them. And I wanted to create this corner of the internet, since we're all on the internet, where like the beacon, almost the lighthouse, where people who are in those liminal spaces or are leaving those corsets or are breaking out of those boxes had a example or sort of a
resource
of back to the point about belonging of, wait, okay, the people in my corset or the people who have formed my corset may not be my people anymore, but I need people.
Yeah.
And who do I now? Who gets me now? Who is the one who's going to see me, hold that reverence for my human journey and my divine journey, and hold safety, not just safety, but also celebration for it.
Yes. So. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
gosh. Yeah.
I actually had someone, go ahead. I had someone message me who's an old client if she's listening, she'll know who she is. But last night, who was just like, you know what? It's been a while since we chatted, and this is where we left off. And I just want to update you. And I just wanted to tell you because I knew that you could hold this joy and like that you would be genuinely excited for me. And I was like, thank you.
That's when you know you've made it. Wherever it is like when you can hold the pain and also the other end of the spectrum, the joy, the celebration, it's like, whew, that's a full spectrum right there.
And it was
powerful.
Even a lesson and an invitation for me for one little piece where I was like, oh, I'm so glad she came into my little aura today and dropped that because I needed that today for me.
Yeah. Yep. So beautiful. Cool. I love it.
Everything's divine. All right. Well, Megan, thank you for being here. And y'all reach out to Megan on Instagram. Go join her program, whatever feels right to you. Yeah. And we'll have to have you back for sure.
Yes, I would love that.
All right.
Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you.